Get to work. What's the name of this band?
The band?
The band?
I think it's called The Band.
The Band.
I love that twang. Whatever that twang is.
That was a good twang.
Good twang.
Welcome back to the Mission Control Podcast. I'm Johnny G.
Daryl here. We are your captains for this trip in the control room.
Make sure your seats are in the upright and locked position and your tray tables are up.
There will be nuts later. Little packets of nuts.
I think there are already nuts. There are already nuts on this show.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
YouTube as well for all the videos. Hit us up on our Instagram, maybe Twitter.
One more new thing to add is on the back end, we have switched to Anchor. Not very relevant. I mean, people that have subscribed, that you don't have to do anything else. We were worried that we would lose because of the whole changing of the RSS, which we have down pat now.
Yeah, we
it's
had
all
a
good.
bit of behind the scenes technical stuff going on. We moved all of our library of podcasts to Anchor.
Yep.
Which was a nice grueling couple of days. Each individual one, just upload the MP3s, and then essentially we reposted the entire podcast again. I had to change the dates back to like the original dates from 2011. Otherwise, we'd have like 160 episodes all done on the one day in 2020.
Yeah,
which would be kind of cool. But we didn't, and we got it all set up, and now everything just runs from Anchor, and it goes to
that's good.
All of the places.
It just enables us to. Because I didn't realize it because we were on somewhat of a private server before. We weren't really capturing our analytics that accurately, or at all.
We were so underground that we were just not even on the grid.
And then this is probably going to be boring for some people, but we looked through the RSS and then we realized that it wasn't even categorized properly, like things like that.
Yeah, well, like I said, we started this podcast back in the early days, back before there were these podcast tools, really.
Yeah.
And before Spotify had even picked up, way before Spotify's only just sort of picked up on podcasts, but all of our back-end RSS feeds was all manually written using all the shit they had back then, and it's all changed now. It's all streamlined now with the apps and all the different what are they called, like podcast hosts and things like that. There's fucking shit. There are heaps of them now.
It's grown a lot, especially since we started. It's grown considerably. Only 7-8 years. It's already changed a lot. There's so many tools now. It's so easy. Like you can just have your phone and you can have a podcast. And I think there was a surge. Like there's about 250,000 new podcasts within the last year or two. So like people are, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's still a lot. I mean, that's 250,000 people pumping hours and hours of content onto these platforms. Like there's so much to choose from now, and it's like it's a really cool time to make content and consume. I think, I don't know, consuming, maybe like people feel a bit overwhelmed. There's just so much to listen to, and there's only so many hours in the day. Like my back catalogue of stuff that I should be listening to is growing more than I can actually listen to. I can't keep up. There's too many things, you know.
Well, you got to make sure you can listen to it now before it all gets deleted, because I'm sure your list of podcasts aren't conservative friendly, if that's a correct term to make up.
Not even, just... I mean, not even. I think conservative, and I don't really even buy into that. It's just, I want the freedom to listen to whatever, and I want people to have the freedom to put up whatever and not feel like they'll be taken down. I mean, as long as it's not hateful, it should be up there. That's pretty broad, I know.
Yeah,
and that's really idealistic as well, because, you know, obviously there's stuff out there that should be taken down, but still, it's a podcast. Just don't listen to it if you don't like it.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's certainly people out there that will make it their sole goal in life is to silence those that don't agree with them.
Yeah. But I think
I tried to say that in one breath.
I think that's dying out. And I hope it is. I think the majority of people now are more open than ever to alternative ways of thinking, you know.
Yes, exactly. And that's why they're locking it down a lot more. That is why they... I feel like there is so much censorship, algorithm stuff we talked about way before this Rona time.
Yeah, and especially as things get more smart and shit like that. But anyway, Anchor. So
yeah,
I mean, we've moved everything to Anchor. I don't want to dwell on that too long, but it's just I am excited because we are now able to see, kind of gauge our listeners a bit more, be a little bit more direct. I think you can leave messages on there, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we'll sort out all the nitty gritty, but at the moment, it's streamlined. It is running smoothly, and we are actually starting to see some numbers.
Yeah, we actually know now. It's a lot more tangible now. We were flying. It was something that I, unfortunately, was like avoiding. Trying to like accepting the fact that you have to actually think about audience reach, analytics, things like that. What topics are more popular? What people do like, the demographics, all that stuff.
I don't care. I don't care.
But I don't. It doesn't sway how I deliver the content. But it's nice to know where we stand. Yeah. I think finally.
Yeah.
But
it's good to know that people out there that are listening, and this is for you guys.
Yep, and we've seen a couple more podcasts pop up around Perth. I don't know if we want to talk about them.
A few. We'll talk about them when they talk about us.
Oh, it's like that, is it?
Oh, it's like that. Anyway, how's your week been?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, I think everyone's just holding it together. I've bought a journal, like a real life journal, a notepad. I'm trying to rekindle like my whole writing thing. I think it's important to stay active, even if I something about typing stuff, it doesn't stick with you as much as when you sit down and like write it out. Even if it's like I wake up now and just try and write like a paragraph, and it becomes fun.
Mm-hmm.
You actually start looking forward to it. It's a great way to process your thoughts. I used to have a thing called a bullet journal, but that's more task-oriented. You can make them for other things, but I love the idea of having something I can go to that enables me to break apart my day, my week.
Yeah.
Not just tasks, but emotionally, like what I'm thinking, and now is the time to kind of do that. It's a very introspective time in history. I think that's
I just find it funny that you're doing that, because I did that like the other week.
Started journaling.
Well, no, I didn't start. I went to continue.
Yeah.
Because I got my many books there, but I had that same idea. Like, I'm sitting there trying to plan. I downloaded like 50 apps on my phone to try and these organizations type shit. Mm-hmm. And I just stopped and thought, why the fuck am I spending all this time? I started playing with Notion, which is actually a good.
That's a good app.
It's a good app, but it gets confusing. It's just too in depth. And I'm like, fuck it. The simplest way to do it is just to pick up a fucking pen and have a notepad, piece of paper, and just write it. Because your memory, and there's something, I don't know if it's just something that we learnt growing up, like in the schools and stuff, is just this connection with actual writing and retaining more knowledge through the action of that sort of transfer from brain to fucking paper, rather than just sitting on a phone going tap, 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 tap.
Yeah, there's something missing in the digital stuff, right? Like, because even I tried to draw on a tab, like write out stuff on, tablets and stuff. And even then it's not, you don't feel the paper, you can't smell it, things like that, But I also like the idea of something not being saved to clouds and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just that diary, that is the only diary, that journal, that physical journal is the only place you're going to get it. Yeah. It's not hooked up to the internet with all these companies.
Become one of those like sort of ancient books that gets uncovered. But see, the problem was like, because I do that all the time, and it's for me. I need to get a fancy pen each time I start again.
A nice pen.
A nice pen.
Yeah.
It's the same with the paper. Like I don't just go shitty paper and a shitty pen. You want something nice that's gonna last.
Yeah.
So the Moleskine books always the Moleskines, but a nice fancy pen. But part of me was like, but I'm not ready to just spend this money on a pen because I just looked because I had my tablet open. I'm like, hang on, there's a pen attached to my tablet, which at the same time, it's, your hand can kind of get used to a pen. And I'm like, but I've got all this right there in front of me. So I tried to well, no, I'm going to not use the pen and paper. I'm going to try and use a tablet. I just haven't fucking done it. I just don't want to pick it up. I don't know what to write.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I totally get that. Yeah, that's my old.
I write with
old
I actually use a pencil.
Yeah,
Which is weird.
pencil.
Yeah.
HB, 2B, 4B.
HB, because I like sketching and shading things as well
Oh,
as I write.
Yeah, but you want to go 2B pencil, something a bit darker and just not press as hard.
I think I also romanticize about this idea that it can be smudged away. I think there's something kind of cool about that, and it will fade over time.
Did you ever have the eraser pens that you can take, like you pop the erasers and once it's gone, it's like a Pez dispenser for erasers on the little end of the click pen. We used to have them in high school, and once the erasers popped out, you put a new one in or it comes up.
What do you mean? What do you mean by expensive pen though? How expensive are we talking? Because a standard art liner is all you really need. I like black ink.
Yeah. But there's something about trying to. Okay, this is going to be a really strange thing. It's been a quest in my life to find the perfect pen to paper just match. I don't know why. There's something I don't know if I've seen it or heard it or read it somewhere about this, a pen, just the way the ink holds onto the paper.
You mean from an aesthetic point of view?
I'm talking like sketching as well.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of sketching and use the color Copic markers and things like that. But trying to find the perfect sort of, I don't know. It's just something I'm just trying to find the perfect match, and I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I can't recall where it comes from, so that's what I don't know what it is. If I knew exactly what pen I was going for, I'd try. But so it comes down to trying each pen to try and find this perfect match.
Yeah.
It's an artistic thing. That's just coming back from my design artistic days.
Even I
need to get back into.
Do you like visual diaries? Like just blank paper, no rules.
Yeah, that's
no
what
ruler lines or anything like that.
No rules at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I got my countless bits and pieces there.
My mood instantly, it takes you out of, it puts you right in the present, I think, when you start writing. You're only thinking about getting that word right. You're not thinking about what's ahead or before.
Mm-hmm.
You're just in that stream, the flow state, the stream of consciousness where nothing else matters except what you're doing at that moment. I think it's really healthy, yeah.
Is that where your handwriting starts off nice and focused, and then towards the end it's just like lines because you're just...
It's just Aramaic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just ancient scrolls, yeah.
I've been told I have good handwriting.
Yeah.
I've been told that by a few people. We got a new whiteboard at work, and I'm putting in, and the boss's wife came in and say, "Johnny, you guys have actually really nice handwriting." I'm like, thanks.
Do you use block letters or cursive?
That's the thing. My handwriting changes. It's a mood-based thing.
Yeah, depending on what. I think if it's important, I tend to use all block letters.
Yeah.
And then for more like either formal or emotional things, I'll use like cursive.
Yeah. I think I have three. I have three types. A very sort of focused, upright, solid one. A mid that's got more of a cursive, and the last one is just like almost just the scribble because I know what that is saying. I don't care if no one else can read it.
Well, it's only for yourself anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that goes back to what you're saying. This idea of it not being on the cloud. It's essentially become it's a personal thing that it's not you just putting out there for everyone and letting everyone critique it and whatnot. You just like it's not there for that purpose.
Yeah, it's a personal thing, but not only that, the sentimental value of knowing that you have to go to that object to get that entry. It's not duplicated anywhere digitally. I think stuff that's vintage always comes back around. I think because they consider note taking and notebooks that's like going to be a vintage thing. I think
about that, but I also have another thought as well. What if we're just getting old? But I mean, in actually the sense that what we suddenly, like what our minds are focusing on, it's like having 10 different channels to watch. And, we started off watching this thing and then we moved to this channel, we go to this channel, and we're suddenly sort of back at this channel where we're suddenly the information or what we're focusing on is more aligned with what we're thinking and feeling now. 10 years ago, we'd be looking into trying to get a good pen and marker. We were like, where can we go and get pissed the most? Where could we go out and have a fucking party?
I don't know. I think that was always there for me. I think it's phases. Like you go in and out of phases. Because I was in high school with journals. I was doing the same shit.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I just mean more in the sense that our focus in life is not like repeating itself, but just sort of
it comes in cycles. I definitely think it comes in cycles, just like seasons, all that sort of stuff. I think it's all cyclical.
But it could be down even like the way that the information that the way we consume our information, and it's like saying. I think you said something earlier, which I've totally forgotten.
I wonder why.
And it's the whole sort of picking and choosing. Like when you choose what you want to watch, or you choose the information that you want to consume, and that becomes your sort of focus point. Are we sort of now we're done looking like Trump's got COVID, whoop-de-doo, but how can I get a good pen that writes on a piece of paper? And that's what I'm looking at. So now I'm suddenly looking for that information.
Was that because you saw him sign his name on a blank sheet of paper? It's funny because we were talking about two. They were separate things, but that seemed to fall in line, didn't it? That's weird because there's been headlines about him signing stuff,
man.
Which I don't want to talk about that. But yeah,
idiots. Yeah. Why did you have to? Are we going there? No.
That's up to you if you want to take it and carry it. But no, I don't want to. There's enough of that stuff.
Hey,
I actually want to come here to have some. I want some joy left in my life.
We're not feeding that fucking. We're not feeding that virus anymore.
Yeah,
we're gonna try. We will eventually. But
eventually we will. It's not the right time.
Not the time.
But
Halloween's coming up. We got to start preparing for that.
Well, it was. We just looked at a Halloween episode with Adam Stafford.
Yeah, we did the throwback.
The one before that was that with Ben Smith.
Yes,
Ben Smith was here for that.
Yeah,
the one before that.
Yeah,
that was 2018 and then 2019. Yeah,
2018, 2019. What do we do for Halloween?
We've had 2 Halloweens here already.
No, well, here. Yeah, we have. Well, yeah, 2 years. 2 years here now. Wow. But it's been a good 2 years. For the podcast, not for me, for the podcast.
That went by really quick.
It did.
Yeah, we're about to have another Halloween. Should we have another Halloween themed episode?
Oh, hells yeah. Hells yeah. I think there's a gig happening on Halloween night somewhere, something. Yeah, usually is. Nah, Halloween's a good one. What? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've dressed up for Halloween very often. Maybe 3 or 4 times in my life.
Yeah, you just wear a mask. You put a mask on now. That's not even cool anymore. Can't even wear a mask now without looking like yeah. Well, anyway,
But I'm not a dresser-upper. The most I dressed up was I wore that that clown mask in the last episode. That was it.
I remember. Now this is a whole Halloween story from when I was about. I was in primary school, I think, at the time, like year 6 or something, and I remember what happened at Halloween. Our classroom or whatever. We walked up to we were going to the library up the road, but it was all dress up, so everyone had to dress up for Halloween and stuff. And yeah, you know what I decided to dress as? A full-on gorilla, like a full-on gorilla suit that you climb inside of, with a big furry thing and a big, gorilla head that sits on top. Must have been in year 6. I must have been primary school. Was it primary school? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which was like, I remember the library, walking up. Yeah. Yeah, but in primary school, I decided to be this big full-on gorilla walking down the street in the class. And everyone's dressing, they got like a fancy shirt, or they got some face paint and stuff. And I'm a fucking full-on gorilla going up to the library, fully in character doing the thing. It was fucking fun.
Did you want to do that again this year?
Oh, but see,
you can hang from the balcony for the gorilla suit.
No, well, I think my point is, I like to dress up. Everyone knows I like to get a bit fancy.
Yeah, you're with that theatrical stuff.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally get it. I think, do you know what it is? I think I'm a cynical bastard and I don't dress up. I just wear the same shit. Because I've always found like it's too much effort, like, especially if you've got like a heavy, hot costume and you're trying to have a...
Yeah.
it gets a bit
Well, I was going to say, I think it was summertime because it did not smell good after that, like that suit. But it was fun. I remember that suit.
Yeah. Did you end up going out last night?
No, I didn't.
No, yeah.
No, I was in the middle of war.
Online, yeah. When did we go out? We saw a physical release at the Bird.
That was
a good gig.
Friday? No, because I haven't been here all week.
Yeah.
I've just got back. So that would have been last Saturday. No, Sunday night, because it was a long weekend last week.
Good show.
Yeah.
Good vibes there.
Mm-hmm.
Good vibes there. I had a feeling there'd be a line because of the limited entry, yeah.
Yeah. We left a little bit late, but it was all right.
We left at 9, yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. Good night.
It was a good night, yeah.
I feel lucky that we get to still do that, here.
For now, no.
Poor old...
Don't jinx it.
Poor old Nick in Victoria.
Oh.
I'm really feeling for our Victoria friends.
Yeah.
It's
I honestly can't imagine. I remember when we went into our first sort of lockdown thing.
Yeah.
And like I locked down for a week out of choice. Like I wanted to, like everyone else had taken time off. I'm going to take a week off. So I couldn't do it. I couldn't even, not even that week. I just had to go outside and do shit and just be outside like fuck this. But to a point where you've got a curfew, you've got restrictions on how far you can travel. It's like, nah.
Yeah, the whole 5 kilometer radius thing. Yeah.
But even, I guess, even for us, like, do we ever need to go more than 5Ks? Like, what, apart from you coming from your place to here, do you ever travel more than 5Ks?
This is the thing. I was more than happy to, when it first happened, I was like, yeah, man, I'll do whatever it takes. Like, I'm not, people have this idea that if people have some sort of alternative idea as to what's happening, that they willingly disrupt and don't follow rules out of choice. Like they don't care. Like
well,
they're malicious. And I think, do you know what I mean?
Well, it's the whole thing. You
can question
what happens. What happens when you corner an animal?
Mm.
It usually strikes out. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some people that it only, for us, tell us to stay inside. Yeah, okay, we'll probably do it a couple of days and then get a bit, shitty. But I'm sure there's some people that even from the idea of it, it makes them want to lash out.
Yeah, they want to rebel just to rebel. And I feel like sometimes it's a big, how do I say it? People, people lump people into that category. Like, if they either follow the rules meticulously or they have no regard for the rules. Like, it's either one or the other.
Oh, don't get me started. But yes.
But there's a lot of shades in between. You know, just because you have a certain idea about what's happening, it doesn't mean that you're just gonna. You want anarchy. You want people to hurt people. You know what I mean? It always gets associated with some sort of a disregard for the rules. You know, and I will happily follow the rules, but I get to question it. It's a fundamental human right that I get to question it, right?
Yeah.
But I still followed. And anyway, my point was, I had no issue. I think for a whole month, I probably locked down. For a whole month, I think I fully was just going out to buy groceries.
Yeah, but that's easy because you're a hermit anyway. So.
I am, but it's still the idea of other people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm highly empathetic, so I felt depressed. Yeah, fair enough. I was in my element. I am at home 90% of the time anyway, but I felt for other people. I felt for other people that wanted to go about their day and this and that and how they feel, and now for the people in Victoria. But I guess my point is I had no issue with following the rules, and it felt like it went by relatively quickly. Did you feel that? Before I knew it, we were just back at the pub.
Yeah.
Like it was like nothing happened. Like what was it, about a month or two of maybe more of
for me,
pure isolation. Then after that, it was relatively normal.
Yeah. It was just I mean, because I was working the whole time, like nothing stopped me. It was just when it came to the weekend, let's go have a drink. Oh wait, we can't. Well, okay, I'm just going to sit at home and drink then. But you were still able to come around here, and we just have a drink here. None of this sort of going out. Like, well, fuck, that was probably actually more enjoyable than.
Whereas the curfew, I feel, I don't know, I'm out of touch with what people are talking about. I'm completely out of touch.
I don't know,
but I feel like unanimously, a lot of people were questioning the actual curfew part. Like, did that actually help, or did that just further push people into more depression, force more businesses to close? You know?
Yeah, I didn't see the point in it of the curfew. If you're already telling people that they can't do this, they can't do that, they can't travel out, they can't do this, I don't see why you'd have to say, but then after a certain time you cannot leave your house.
Yeah,
that's fucking
next level, right?
Why?
And I think it's quite reasonable to question that. I think it doesn't mean you think the fucking virus is a hoax or anything.
No.
If you're questioning the laws they're putting in place, it's nothing to do with the virus.
Yeah.
And I think that should be open to scrutiny all the time. It shouldn't be a thing that people get sensitive about. It's not about not following the rules. It's about saying, hey, do we actually need this curfew?
Yeah.
Like, it's a big difference, right?
Well, are these state of emergency laws that go into place during an emergency, which gets declared, which did, so they have all these powers that they can exercise during that time. But what's happened, especially in Australia, is all these actual other laws have gone in over the top and behind that aren't covered by the Emergencies Act. And when does that stuff go away? Like, when do they say, oh, we brought in this extra security and the contact tracing and stuff and all this thing because of this virus? If and when we get rid of this virus, honestly, I don't see it. It's not going to last forever. It's not like it's never going to go away. It is just going to disappear, or it's suddenly just going to be forgotten about. Same way that SARS 1 did, that just disappeared. But when it goes away, what happens to these laws and these systems that they've put in place for that specific issue? Are they going to go around and hire people to scrape off that 1 meter social distance sticker on the pavement? Are they going to? Yeah, it's like, when is it going to be over, and what happens afterwards? Or is this it? Like, have we just suddenly overnight transitioned into what is going to be our new world normal?
I talked to a lot of people about this. Me and you talked about this as well. A lot of people I talk to outside of this room as well are fairly certain that this is the new reality that we're faced with, and like you said, the new normal. So I think it's here to stay. Like, as much as I don't want it to be, but you're right. Like, how many laws are we aware of? Are they being revoked after these? This expansion of power. Do they get? Does it return to normal, or do they just stay?
Yeah,
we're still taking our shoes off because of one fucking shoe bomber. With these X-rays that allegedly they paid millions of dollars for, and they can't see through our fucking shoes.
I mean, but like I've spoken to people in the US and stuff and asked them how they're going with their shit, and some of them are doing all right, some of them are a bit freaking out. They always say to me, "Oh, but I'd love to visit Australia. I'd love to go there. The place looks so amazing. Beautiful, beaches, beautiful countryside." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, sounds cool." And then I stop and tell them about some of the laws in Australia and some of the laws, especially in Western Australia, and they go, "Huh? Excuse me?" To them, it is literally a police state for Western Australia. Mr. Basil fucking Zemplis.
With his AI cameras.
This is shit that I spoke about, that I said before, that the Perth AI cameras that we've been watching, that Aero Ranger AI shit.
And we have Clearview here as well.
Yeah,
Clearview.
I'm trying to remember if I mentioned it on a podcast or if I was just showing it to you, Clearview, because then...
Not too sure. I think we may have talked about it in the Gorgon Stare episode. We may have dropped Clearview.
I remember, and I was talking about it, and then all this shit starts coming out about Clearview, who was actually developed by was he a West Australian? I think he's West Australian.
Yeah.
But he's an Asian guy that moved to the US and worked with DARPA, I think it was.
Then came back here.
And then came back to Australia to develop this Clearview AI technology.
Yep.
Which is essentially the whole facial tracking, all just everything. And then we've got the AI cameras in Perth. We got the 2 live feeds on YouTube you can see, which I think are just examples, because that system is already out there, and just so people can say, "Oh, that's what's running." All these nightclubs that have thermal cameras and tracking and stuff in them now, and then you've got Basil Zemplis, like I said. He wants to extend and coordinate CCTV. Driving innovative technology solutions with existing camera networks. Exactly what you've been saying. With all the cameras we've already got in the city, how easy is it to just plug it into the same AI system? Like, run it through an AI software computer that just takes all the feeds from the city, all the cameras that are already around, and run it through an AI fucking software.
There we go. You're watching the whole city without lifting a finger.
Yeah, well, no, it's not just watching the city; it's actually monitoring the city. Because a person, back in the day when there was just a security camera, and you have a security guy watching the TV, making sure nothing moves, and then he falls asleep and someone robs the bank. Classic idea. That's what was happening before. Is all of this camera technology was just being recorded. But no one was actually watching it. No one was sitting there watching every single camera in the city going, oh, look, Daryl just jaywalked. Daryl just crossed the street when the man was red. Get him. No, all this footage just goes onto a camera, onto a data bank, into an archive. And then if there is an incident, then they say, okay, can you pull up the camera feed from this time, this date, this area? And then they go back and look. So something's already happened. And then they have to go back and find it. But when you run it through an AI system that is actually monitoring and checking all of the feeds in real time as it's happening, then it just adds a whole new level of what can be done in terms of monitoring, enforcing laws and bits and pieces. Because you're not waiting for something to happen, or you're not waiting till after something to happen to actually go back and check it all. It's happening right there, right then, at that time.
Real time. It's in real time, right? Yeah. So it also, can you imagine the capability? You know, like I've seen systems where it's like you can drag and drop and go, this person, show me all instances of this person.
Yes.
And every camera would then, it'll let you know, yep, it was he was here at this timestamp, he moved to here at this timestamp, then went to here at this timestamp, and you can literally profile someone from the start of their day to the end of their day.
Same
whole thing.
Same with cars pinging number plates, like we see on the Aero Ranger, where we can identify number plates. If that system's running in all the cameras about, they can say, okay, that number plate was pinged there on that corner, then that corner. They can actually follow, track exactly at that time where you're going.
Which theoretically, yes, if someone was stabbed or shot or poked in the butt or whatever, like I would want there to be systems in place, where you can get criminals. Absolutely. That in theory, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right?
Yeah.
Because everything starts out with good intentions, right? But how easily would this stuff be turned directly on, like, just everyday people to monitor their habits?
Exactly. It's the trust in the people that are behind it.
Exactly.
The trust in the people that have access to it. The trust in the people that can...
It's not the software's fault.
No, it is as well. That creates it and, programs it. You know? We get sold this idea that it's all good and all for safety and stuff, but then it doesn't trust the person that is using that technology. The person that has the control of it. It's just...
And at what stage could you be a private company and then, like, that's where
you can create a Clearview account.
No, what I'm saying is, like,
and you can check...
What about this idea that you could... What about selling data back to people? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like we have all this data, and then they approach certain companies or certain government agencies and say, well, you got to buy this off us. You have to buy this actual data, like, off us. All the systems.
Buy the systems, or buy the data.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, yes and no. Like, why would they need it? Let's say if it's something being implemented through the West Australian Police, okay, and the police are running this AI software onto the CCTV cameras that is designed there to identify crimes and breaking the law at that time so they can do something about it. Okay? What's the problem? Like, because they're doing their job and they've just found a more efficient way to do it. Okay, which means less time of them being on the streets, putting their own lives at risk, where they can just, do it through computers. But now, what you're saying is the whole idea of selling the data, where what you're saying that the WA police could then sell access to that to someone else or sell it to someone. Like, it depends on who's got the control of it, is what I mean.
No, I mean, like, if you... the other way round, more like government agencies, the police would then have to pay like private militarized corporations in order to get access to this stuff. You know what I mean? And then therefore it's like not really extortion, but like they can be in a position of power, saying if you want this level of data, buy it off us for X amount, and they can actually be making bulk millions from it, which I guess happens anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens anyway, but the fact of the matter is it's being used actively here. 100%.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's being 100%, used. Yeah.
But it's...
But it's just, it's a matter of, are you okay with, as soon as you walk outside, there's someone watching you, there's someone following you, there's someone who is direct. It's not this sort of, that person's passed away. You are actually identified, and that the AI, the computer, knows who you are and where you're going and what you're doing, who you're calling, what you're eating. It just knows it. It knows, like, you've literally got someone or something, if you want to call it, following you. Everything you do. Even if you're not breaking the law, if you're not doing anything wrong, you're completely good, normal person, whatever. But there's always something following you and watching you. Every move you do. So if you do accidentally do something wrong, boop, you're fucked. Is that fair? Like, is that okay? I don't think so. It just makes me feel a bit, well, does it? I don't really care.
No, I see your point. Yeah. How many people would choose that to have safety? You know what I mean?
Well, the problem that I get is I feel like it's being sold as a... It doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel honest and transparent and open about it. I honestly feel that there is something more behind it. Like there's a bigger... I mean, what happened with... What did the German people do when they categorized the Jews? Didn't they take every single Jewish person and give them a number and track them and make sure they knew exactly who they were? Even though they didn't do anything wrong. I mean, it might be a completely different example because that was some sort of hatred over a race of people and whatever. But then it's almost like saying, well, computers have this thing over the human race.
Yeah.
Like the computers don't like the human race, so we need to track them, we need to categorize them, we need to make sure that they're doing all the right things.
Well, IBM was the company that categorized the Jews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hugo Boss dressed them. I mean, the Nazis.
Yeah. But, I think that will affect the psyche of the human being. But the thing is, like, we always talk about this thing called consent. What's scary is the ignorance of the public of the use of these things. That's what's more scary to me.
Yeah.
Than the actual technology. It's the willful ignorance that people assume that nothing will go wrong with these systems, or that there's no way to exploit that,
And it's just, and anyone that, I mentioned to people, and people say, oh yeah, but Google tracks us, Apple tracks us, our phones track us. Yes, they do.
But we gave consent.
And we agreed to it. You know, that big, long document that pop-ups that say accept or cancel, and we all click accept?
Yeah.
Accept. We willingly give that, whether people bother to read it or bother to acknowledge it. We do give that. We are given that option to...
We're giving permission.
We're given that option. No, we're given an option that we can choose to have access to all of this stuff in return for being tracked, monitored, followed, sold ads, used, and all this sort of stuff. Or we can not use it by click the cancel button and just don't use it. We're given that option. But if you don't use it, you don't have access to the thing that everyone else is using.
Yeah,
and it's become this unstoppable. You need like what the fuck was that? My computer.
Well, you have to fall in line, or you fall behind. Like
fall in line and fall behind. Well, Can we put that on a t-shirt?
But it's I mean, that probably sounds a bit harsh, but I see what you mean. But when you step outside your front door, you never gave consent for there to be 30 cameras on you.
Exactly. And not only the 30 cameras that were first put in term for a whole safety thing, being able to make sure that you're safe, because it was like more of a deterrent, because like I said, things will still happen and they find it later. But when there is, from the moment you set outside, that there is something watching you and something following you, something tracking you and doing everything that you did not choose for it to do, you did not accept.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a whole different... Because the thing is that when they implement it, they're not liable as well. Like, how do you make someone liable for that? How do you follow that up? There's just no transparency when it comes to that stuff. Because it is... Well, we don't have a Bill of Rights. We don't have anything to protect us. Hitman. Hitman with a Sandboy chip.
Hey guys. Welcome to the Mission Control podcast.
Let's start again. We'll start from the beginning. And go.
No. Yes. Again. thanks for listening. It's been a pleasure.
Hell yeah.
We'll do it again soon.
We should. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming out.
I think we do.
We
do. Yeah. We've been talking to some people, and we've got some things coming. And
we've got some cool stuff to release as well.
Yeah,
in the works. You know.
I don't know what. This song's actually going to take a bit to kick in if we're going to do it like this.
Yeah.
YouTube for all the videos. We try our hardest when it comes to editing our videos. Spotify. Just go to Spotify.
That's probably the easiest.
Spotify. If you're listening on audio, go to Spotify. And if you don't have Spotify, you should get Spotify. But if you don't have a Spotify, then don't use Spotify. I'm not going to force you to use Spotify. I'm not going to sell out and promote stuff. I say this now. Who knows what's going to happen in time? So don't pull me on if I said I'm never going to do it. Give me the offers. Make me stop talking. How do I stop talking? I think because I've been away the whole week, and you can notice my sunburn, and I've just had this whole.
It's too dark to notice.
I've been in work mode all week. This has been my one release for the whole week, and I've had so much built up shit. I can't believe Trump has COVID. 33 days out from the election, and he gets COVID. Ha ha. It's
can't write that.
Can't write this.
Can't
shit.
make that shit up.
All right, guys. Thanks again.